Hi, I'm Charles with Anycap. Previously, Mofan was somehow able to awaken two rare talents, but kept it a secret until he had to use them in a difficult duel. He is eventually forced to move to another city where he would shockingly awaken another two talents. During a showdown between two academies, Mofan is trapped, but reveals his third talent to everyone in order to break free. The story continues after Ningsu has asked Mofan to show his true strength, and is glad to see he is now serious. Mofan, being the gentleman that he is, explains that he never turns down a woman's requests. The battle is fierce, and the instructors of both schools must protect their students from the overflow of destructive power. Ningsu uses her second talent, prompting her classmates to claim that Mofan is a goner. Mofan's friends worry that he'll be torn apart, but he manages to dissipate her spirit-grade wind prison. Happy to see that he has found a worthy opponent, Mofan unleashes a powerful lightning attack that Ningsu fails to stop. He avoids hitting her though, as they're only sparring, and Ningsu surrenders. Students of both schools are in disbelief of Mofan's three elements, but Zhang He explains that the loss is not a big deal. The more important event is next. Zhang He believes that his beast is much more powerful than Mofan's wolf, and has come up with a plan to prove it. Elsewhere, Mr. Q is upset that a man named Nian plans to exploit a student. The World Magic Association disapproved the usage of a dreadful new magic, but Nian doesn't agree. In the past, the magic elements that could be awakened were few and weak, but with advances in technology, mages are able to push the boundaries. The principal of Yandu Academy named Songhae explains that this can wait, since he will not let any student be in danger while they're in his school. The next day, Songhae explains that he would like to have the students practice their survival skills, so a practical will take place outside the safe zone without any protective measures. They will have to go to Jinlin City, a place that no one has heard of since it had been deleted from the map 15 years ago. It had been overrun by monsters, and their mission for the practical is to collect data that will determine if the city can be rebuilt. The mission is dangerous as they will have to fight the monsters themselves, and the only advice Professor Gu can give is to get quality defensive magical equipment. Later, Mofan explains to Mu how his boy Wolfie had been upset after not being able to defeat the other beast, so he has decided to get some supplies that will help him get to the warrior level. That night, Mofan gives the beast refinement blood that he won during the summoners competition, along with some other items, to his archwolf. Mofan explains that Wolfie has proven his loyalty and earned Mofan's trust. Mofan then uses the very expensive items to begin the process. Midway through, Mofan must provide his archwolf with magic energy for the evolution to work. He can feel it working, and Professor Gu arrives to see that the evolution was a success. He is in disbelief since the archwolf is a low-level beast with a very small chance to evolve. However, Mofan was somehow able to evolve it into the warrior-level Swift Star Wolf. Elsewhere, a hunter wonders why they must be responsible for the mess that the military created. He explains that the experiments are immoral since failure means that a mage will die. The Hunter King arrives to reveal that the experimental subject this time is an advanced mage with 3 elements. He explains that this will mean the mage's devil transformation will be the most terrifying one yet. Days later, the students embark on their journey beyond the safe zone. Mu explains that the area has at least 10 demon tribes and has been named the Demon Forest. Whenever a tribe attacks a city, it must sound the blood-red alarm. Song explains that Mofan knows about that very well, but is scolded by Ningsu for speaking casually about the crisis in Bo City. Jinlin City is just beyond a tunnel, but a student fears there may be monsters inside and recommends that they take the mountain path. The others are confident in their abilities though, and Mofan can only sigh about their ignorance. Mofan offers to protect Mu from danger, but she rejects him since he should probably be protecting Ningsu. A mid-tier hunter explains that they should keep moving when Mu feels like they are being watched. Just then, demon trolls appear and startle the group. Mu works in tandem with the mid-tier hunter to defeat one. He taunts the other for being slave-level beast, which causes it to run for help. The very next moment, we see that help has arrived quickly, and the students realize that the cave must be their nest. A student gets injured and manages to get saved, but the others are having a difficult time fighting off the endless beasts. Ningsu wants Mofan to charge in with her since their magic will wear out if things continue like they are. He follows her as Mu can only call out his name. Ningsu rushes forward and calls Mofan a slowpoke for falling behind, but he reminds her that he is risking his life by following her. Mofan stops to collect some spirits when he begins to feel like a noob who is carried by a pro to gain experience points. Ningsu's impatience gets her in some trouble, but Mofan arrives just in time to help out. He helps her out again, but feels the need to explain that he was just protecting her and not feeling her up. We see that the other group is losing their battle, but are relieved when they see ice chains. Mofan and Ningsu appear behind the beasts and wipe them all out. They finally leave the cave but see that Mofan is missing. He arrives moments later and explains that he fell behind after tripping. That night, some of the guys try to take a peek of the bathing girls, but run when they think they have been spotted. Back at the camp, they pretend like they had warned their captured friend to not go. The girls notice another person using shadow magic though and want to know who it was. Just then, Mofan arrives and must explain to them that he is not able to afford a shadow item, so it could not have been him. The captured guy gets branded a pervert and the others completely agree. Later, Mofan combines the soul remnants that he has retrieved and finally creates a soul essence. He exclaims that 5 more of those and his lightning will reach level 4. Mofan gets even more excited when he thinks about how only a handful of mages can ever reach that level. The next day, they arrive at Jinlin City and decide to scout the outskirts. After finding a safe entry spot, they decide to search for a spacious building that will serve as their base. They choose a nearby building that coincidentally turns out to be one of the areas they have to survey anyway. The building feels a bit eerie though, and they notice how the plants aren't growing towards the light, but seem to be more attracted to the dark. They think it would be smart to leave some people outside as guards. Mofan volunteers along with Ting Ting, and Mu seems to have a problem with that for some reason. Inside, the students split up to examine the surroundings. The experienced hunter is startled by something, and Mu checks to find human remains. Before she can react though, she is stopped and shown that they are in a really bad situation. They return to the group to find that the entrance they used has been blocked off, and running proves useless as the vines around them converge. Mofan watches in horror as part of the building covered in veins collapses to reveal a demon. Everyone is trapped inside, so Mofan decides that he must act fast to save his friends. However, before he can even move an inch, a large winged beast appears. Its power is so intimidating that Mofan can hardly breathe, so he uses his shadow magic to get away. Inside, the students run away, but Ningsu refuses to leave their classmate behind. The nightmare isn't over though, as more vines close in on them. They come up with a plan to work together and manage to buy themselves some time. Outside, Ting Ting realizes that Mofan just used shadow magic, which means he has been hiding his 4th element from everyone. There's no time to explain though, as the winged beast breaks free of the vines and eats the tree demon. They return to the building just as their friends emerge, begging for Ting Ting to rescue their classmate. They wonder how the academy could think it was a good idea to send them to the city, and turn their anger towards Mofan. He had been the one to pick the building and stayed outside while they all risked their lives. However, Mofan laughs and explains that he would have blocked the exit if he really wanted them dead. The others continue insulting Mofan by saying that those that run away are just as dangerous to the group as monsters are. Mofan has had enough and decides that he will go on to another survey area alone. Manyan tries to stop him, but Mofan has already made up his mind. Manyan understands. He gives Mofan a spare survey device and GPS watch. The watch is most important though, as it allows them to track each other's location. Mofan apologizes to Mu for leaving her with a bunch of ingrates, and she gives him a protective bracelet. If he encounters danger, he must infuse his magic into the bracelet and crush it so that it can protect him. Just before he leaves, Mofan explains that she shouldn't wait for him, and asks that she find a good man to marry instead. Elsewhere, Nian reminds his group that they are no longer in the military and explains that they are approaching their destination, Jinlin City. We then see that Mofan didn't actually care about the trash talkers and just needed a good excuse to leave the team. He returns to where the tree demon had died in the hopes of finding a good spirit. With the help of his leveled up Wolfie, Mofan is able to find a very rare and valuable pseudomorph seed. He is sure that other summoners would kill to have the chance at developing it into a summoned creature, but it's all his. We are then reintroduced to an old face when we see that Officer Kong has come to visit Songhai. Songhai notices the scar on Kong's neck and points out how if it had been just a little higher, he would be dead. It is the scar that was left after fighting the Darkwing Wolf in Bow City. They had both been severely injured, but the beast managed to escape. However, Kong explains that he is there to look for Mofan, who is like a brother to him, and has been worried ever since he revealed his dual talents. He reveals that Nian and his subordinates had been expelled from the military. Kong knows that Nian is a lunatic and suspects that he may be playing his tricks again. Songhai is surprised to hear about his expulsion since he had just visited. When Kong hears this, he immediately asks for Mofan's location and heads to Jinlin City. In the city, Mofan thinks about how much stronger he has become, as the wolves that once gave him trouble are now just playthings for Wolfie. They are surrounded, but Mofan must finish the survey, so they begin their battle. We see that Mofan really has come a long way since the days in Bow City, where just one of these beasts proved to be a great challenge for him and his classmates. Now Mofan is able to take on several and prepares to grow even stronger as he collects their spirits. Elsewhere, the other students are doing well to survive but have only managed to do one survey, with many left to go. Some of the students begin to appreciate Mofan more when they realize how hard it is to fight without him. Another student thinks that he might already be dead, but Minun reveals that not only is he alive, he is also headed back. At their new base, Ming has returned with some water, but explains that he is itchy from bug bites. Ting Ting explains that the girl's condition is not good since her wounds are also affected by poison, so she puts an antidote in the water. In that moment though, Ming is overcome with urges and must be pulled off Ting Ting. Later, Mofan returns and reveals that he has done 2 surveys already. Some students assume that there probably weren't any monsters there, but Minun points out that those were the most dangerous areas. Mofan does some taunting of his own and the two must be told to stop by Ning-Su. However, the guy is tripped by another student and a different argument begins. Everyone seems to be on edge and Ning-Su pulls Mofan aside to discuss it. Mofan thinks that's just how they always are, but she points out how odd it was for Ting Ting to hug Mofan so quickly. Mofan explains to Ning-Su that Ting Ting just has a crush on him the same way she once did. Ning-Su says that she was just young back then, but Mofan reveals that in his heart she is like a beautiful princess living in a castle. We then see a bug crawl away from Mofan and a mysterious dot on his forehead. He goes on to say that he will go with her again if she wants to leave her family, but she explains that they have already arranged her marriage. She has no feelings for her fiancé, but that is what a political marriage is. Just then, Mofan snaps out of it thanks to his mind-calming gear and realizes that something is definitely wrong. Ning-Su thinks that a spell must be forcing people to overtly express their deepest desires, and figures Ming must have brought something back from the pond. However, their discussion must end abruptly when a large explosion decimates the building their friends are in. Thanks for watching part 15, 11,000 likes to let me know you want a part 16.